Turn that monitor off. I don't know what it was lingering. Yeah, I hear it. Is that me? It sounds like it's you. Yeah, it's a pretty big story. I was talking to Jacob, founder of Variant News, and he brought up Union Pay, which is starting to make inroads into Africa. China has a big influence in Africa, but it's basically an e-commerce solution, debit card, credit card, online e-commerce solution. It's full featured in China, and now they're branching out internationally. And Russia is going to be using Union Pay to get around world sanctions. So, big story. And also, Jack Dorsey's U.S. payment company Stripe made a big partnership announcement last year with Union Pay. So is that going to still be a good thing, a good partnership to continue having if, most of the world is, pulling out of Russia? Visa's pulled out. Some big credit card companies have pulled out their sales and processing in Russia, so it's a big story. Indeed, and also check my notes here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these billionaire oligarchs in Russia having their yachts seized. It's not looking good for them. They're not very happy. That one guy who owned that UK soccer team, he's had to sell that. And yeah. Well, for people outside of Ukraine, there is obviously the cyber attack angle that's going to be, and we do have a story out of Europe on a internet outage, but I would imagine we're going to see more of that happening. Russia's said they're going to retaliate, so well. It's 3:54, so we checked the video, audio. We're looking good, and we're gonna go back to the intro video for a little bit, but we'll be back live to start the show off at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is in 5 minutes. All right. All right, we're live. It appears that we are live worldwide. I'm gonna, well, I want to start out with the coup of 2014 under Obama. We're gonna bang through that quick. I wanted to get that out of the way. You were muted, Canuck. Okay, now you're rocking.
I hope so.
All right, so starting off with moderndiplomacy.eu. How and why the U.S. government perpetuated the 2014 coup in Ukraine. So NATO has been, for a long time, since the fall of the Berlin Wall, NATO continued to be aggressive. Lithuania, a couple other countries joined NATO. And in 2014, there was a coup. Reading from the article, this will document that the new Cold War between the U.S. and Russia did not start, as the Western myth has it, with Russia's involvement in the breakaway of Crimea and Donbass from Ukraine after Ukraine, next door to Russia, had suddenly turned rabidly hostile toward Russia in February 2014. Ukraine's replacing its democratically elected neutralist government in February 2014 by a rabidly anti-Russian government was a violent event which produced many corpses. It presented in the West as having been a revolution instead of a coup. But whatever it was, it certainly generated the new Cold War, the economic sanctions and NATO build-up on Russia's borders. And to whether it was a coup or instead a revolution, to know what actually started the new Cold War and why. So this is historically very important. Incontrovertible proofs will be presented here, not only that it was a coup, but that this coup was organized by the U.S. government.
I imagine they had part of it.
Initiated the new Cold War. Russia's government reacted to America's aggression, which aims to place nuclear missiles in Ukraine, less than 10 minutes flight time from Moscow. So,
yeah, mind you, the guy that they overthrew was not exactly very popular in the Ukraine. He was definitely tight with the Russian Federation. So, coup, overthrow, it's hard to say.
So this
and
is.
I imagine states probably had something to do with it, but I don't think they were the sole actor. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So this harkens back to the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis, where Soviets were looking to put missiles in Cuba, and Kennedy had that standoff. So this is similar, getting flipped around in the modern day here with Ukraine, this coup, and possibly, although they don't have, as that we know of, nuclear weapons, but
no,
it's possible now.
And they're not part of NATO. That's why NATO's not in there actively defending them or defending them from a distance. Yeah, well, whether or not that's justification for Putin going in, the world doesn't seem to agree with that. But yeah, the coup definitely, or the revolution. But I know that guy wasn't expected very popular in Ukraine at the time that he got ousted. So these things happen. What else you got in there?
Well, it's an interesting thing because there's reference to Eric Schmidt at Google. The network behind this coup had actually started planning for the coup back in 2011. That's when Eric Schmidt of Google and Jared Cohen, also now of Google, but still continuing, though unofficially, as U.S. Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton's chief person tasked to plan popular movements to overthrow both Yanukovych in Ukraine and Assad in Syria.
Yeah.
So that's direct evidence. I mean, big tech, Google,
Of course they do that.
getting involved in these, these
Yeah, they
political
they, they all
uprisings.
they all they all do that. I mean, obviously they're going to use whatever tools they got in the box against what they consider their adversaries. Um, yeah, but I mean, the Ukrainian government that came in seems to be quite popular with the people. So for whatever that's worth, I'm not advocating having coups and stuff like that. But America started with the revolution, seems to me, but that's sort of different.
Anyway, pretty good article. Gonna move on to. Well, we got some footage from Russian convoy, which they're saying is stretching 40 miles long.
Man, they look like they're ducks sitting out there, just big line of friggin' vehicles. Apparently, the Ukrainians blew up a couple bridges, and that hasn't helped the cause there of the. Almost looks like the Bay Bridge or something, trying to get in on rush hour out of San Francisco. I mean, it's just
This
long.
quick video.
What is it, 40? You said it was 40 kilometers?
40 miles.
40 miles? Holy mackerel. That's like a lot of miles, man.
We've already seen how Russia, frustrated at being unable to win the war quickly, has resorted to its default tactics of terrorizing civilian populations, of massed artillery and missile fires on the center of cities in order to cause as much damage and destruction as possible. What that means is Ukraine is going to face a terrible choice. Does it fight on and try to preserve its freedom at the cost of enormous human suffering, women and children killed, and its economy devastated? Or will it need at some point to seek terms, to acquiesce to some of Russia's demands in order that life can go on?
So that's from Al Jazeera. We also have this ground news. Russian children are among thousands of anti-war protesters detained by police. So this is in Russia. We'll do this real quick video.
Чтобы они не говорили, что
Почему ты там сидишь?
все будет хорошо, ты мне веришь?
Хорошо, почему ты там сидишь?
Потому что задача, чтобы много людей не собиралось, и чтобы они не говорили, что они против войны, понимаешь? Выйдем, конечно, не волнуйся.
These are mothers who brought their kids with them to protest the Russian invasion, and they
scooped the kids,
scooped them up along with the kids, and put them in jail. Kind of crazy.
Whoa. Yeah, I mean, there are really, and also Russia's shut down. They had one quasi-independent television station. They put them out of business completely. They also had a radio station type of thing that was quasi-independent, and they shut them down too. So now the Russian people, did they try to take Facebook down, or did they? Or do they still have Facebook, or what's the situation?
Facebook's down. We can put that article up. Social media.
Twitter's down.
This is from theguardian.com. Yeah, disinformation and fake accounts were used against the West for years now. The Kremlin is under attack. One of the wild aspects of the first great information war is not just that you can follow Russia's invasion of Ukraine in real time, minute by minute, step by step. You can also join in. Because in 2022, information is power, and one of the many huge unexpected geopolitical shifts of the last week is that this power has been returned to the people. In Russia on Friday, Putin, a man who is now scared of his own shadow, took the extraordinary step of attempting to outlaw information. He banned Facebook. He shut down Twitter. He passed a new law that declares journalism a criminal offense. Any journalist found to have published fake news on the war in Ukraine now faces up to 15 years in prison. The BBC's moved all their personnel out of Russia because they didn't want to risk them getting put in jail. So there's nobody left reporting in Russia.
Wow. That's scary, man.
So meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky isn't just commanding his armed forces, he's commanding TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram. He's simultaneously available across all social media platforms. Hybrid warfare's first hybrid leader. So Ukraine's leadership is recruiting people on social media for hacking Russia infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
They're literally looking for people, social engineering, programmers, everything.
Wow.
So it's pretty amazing how Ukraine's able to leverage social media.
Yeah, it is, and we kind of were talking about it before the show, and it's like 3 different things of war going on right now. There's the cyber angle, the social media angle, and then there's the economic sanctions, which we're covering as we go through the show, and then the old school, like the way it's always been, the people in the streets and the common type warfare using basic weapons. And I saw these women heckling a bunch of Russian soldiers and actually driving them back, just yelling at them. And the Russian guys didn't know what the heck to do. They were just getting screamed at by these women. So it's pretty complicated. What's our next gem there, Yankee?
Anonymous offers Russian soldiers over 50K
I like this.
worth of
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
I like that. That's a different kind of warfare.
Surrendered tank.
If you can't beat them, bribe them.
So basically, the notorious hacker organization Anonymous is offering Russian troops 52,000 in Bitcoin if they surrender their tank or whatever combat vehicle it is.
Wow. Good deal. That's a lot of money to a Russian.
And that it also mentions here that whole, they're literally trying to raise an IT hacker army online through social media, and this is part of it. They're literally offering Russian soldiers Bitcoin. Here's a video on.
In today's exploration.
This is Ukraine's hacker army is targeting Russia. We'll just do a little bit of this. This is from Satanic.
Of cybersecurity tech news, we've all seen the pictures coming out of Ukraine of normal, ordinary people taking up arms, making Molotov cocktails to defend themselves from the advancing Russian forces. But what you probably haven't heard of is the IT Army of Ukraine. Set up just a few days ago by the Ukrainian government, it's made up entirely of volunteers. Volunteers which aren't just Ukrainians, but people all over the world, with one mission: to disrupt the computer systems of Russian organizations and the Russian government itself. In this video, I want to explore how Ukraine's IT army came into existence and the other hacktivist organizations working alongside them. So how did this IT army come to be? Well, in a recent video, I reported on the Ukrainian government openly calling on the hacker undergrounds to defend against Russia, pleading with cybercriminals to put their skills to good use and volunteer for the Ukrainian military cyber unit. Judging from the Google Forms application page, they were looking for people with skills such as social engineering, malware analysis, and threat intelligence. Well, I can only imagine they were absolutely overwhelmed with responses, because the day after this form went live, on day 3 of the invasion, a Ukrainian government official tweeted, "We are creating an IT army. We need..."
So yeah, it's pretty unprecedented.
No kidding.
How they're able to get all this support like this. You didn't see anything like this on previous modern conflicts like the Arab Spring, or not to this level.
No.
So this is gonna continue, right? So all through the conflict.
Yeah, I think people were just really taken back by the boldness of the action that's happening in Ukraine, and Ukraine being part of Europe, I think people can relate to it more than something that happens in Asia or Africa. I mean, unfortunately, it's people relate, or fortunately, or it's a fact of matter, people relate to their own cultures more. And this is a conflict that's been going on between Russia and Europe for, I don't know, 3, 4, 500 years or something like that. You know, goes back to the Romans almost.
So, from bleepingcomputer.com, it's been documented that there's a Belarusian linked hacking group, UNC 1151, or Ghostwriter, that is targeting Ukrainian officials and military personnel on its platform.
Mm-hmm.
And Facebook's been blocking multiple phishing domains and Ghostwriter-related accounts used by the threat actors to try and compromise the accounts of Ukrainian users. And also, this one's a big one. When we'll see how this evolves, what other cyber attacks occur. But we have this from ndtv.com. Thousands without internet after massive cyber attack in Europe. Outages also knocked offline some 5,800 wind turbines in Germany.
Really? Wow.
And Central Europe with a combined output of 11 gigawatts. Thousands of internet users
lot.
across Europe have been thrown offline after what sources said Friday was a likely cyber attack at the beginning of Russia's offensive in Ukraine. According to Orange, nearly 9,000 subscribers of satellite internet service provided by its subsidiary Nordnet in France are without internet following a cyber event on January 24th at Viasat, a U.S. satellite operator of which it is a client.
Whoa.
But so it's what's also interesting is they got the wind turbines also. I don't know if they probably
Yeah.
a side effect of the attack. I'm not sure if they were going after it directly.
Oh, the turbines kept working, but they couldn't monitor them, or they couldn't adjust them, to change for the wind and stuff like that. They were still working, but they couldn't control them. They couldn't communicate with them because of the internet feed. It's probably dependent on.
And so, moving on, SWIFT ban hits Russian coal exports to China.
Mm-hmm.
This is from oilprice.com. Chinese buyers of coal are having trouble securing financing to buy coal from Russia, the world's third largest coal exporters. China banks are wary of sanctions themselves after selected Russian banks were expelled from the SWIFT banking system. Most banks have stopped issuing letters of credit after the SWIFT sanctions, as almost all contracts are dollar denominated. We have no other way to make the payment. A trader dealing in Russian and coal and based in China told Reuters on Tuesday. Despite the fact that Russia's large volume energy exports are not directly targeted by sanctions, the other sanctions already in place, especially SWIFT ban, is making a growing number of traders in all energy commodities reluctant to deal with Russia, all the more so that banks decline to issue letters of credit in U.S. dollars. But we'll have more on this in Russia and China's new economic infrastructure. Hopefully, they're going to try to get around all of this. Obviously, China's been trying to get past the power of the U.S. petrodollar. So we'll not with everything China's gonna come to the aid of Russia as best they can financially.
Yeah.
So we'll see how well they can do it as the world watches.
Well, China's always going to look out for its own interests first, and the complicated relationship those two countries have had goes way back. I mean, I can remember even in the 50s when they were both communist countries, but they each had their own agenda. Even in Southeast Asia, they had their own agendas, even though they were supposedly on the same side. So it's pretty complicated, mainly because there's so many different entities involved, the corporations, governments, and everything else.
Well, here is from The Guardian. Here's in France. France seizes yacht linked to Russian oligarch at Mediterranean port.
Now these guys are not going to be happy with their buddy Vladdy because they're used to just cruising around on these yachts and getting whatever they want, and now the yachts are getting seized. Yahtsees, new game. And what this one's in Germany, I think Germany seized one of them. I know.
Yeah, I'm looking this up on archive.ph. Get past the paywall here. So in France, the yachts has seized a yacht linked to Rosneft boss Igor Sechin in the Mediterranean port of La Ciotat, as German local authorities denied reports they had also seized the $600 million super yacht belonging to Russian billionaire Alisher Usmanov.
Mm-hmm. I think
French
they actually did,
minister said it had seized a yacht linked to Igor Sechin in the Mediterranean port. The finance ministry said the yacht was owned by an entity of which Sechin had been identified as the main shareholder.
Mm-hmm.
Germany's saying they haven't seized anything.
I think they eventually did, but
Yeah, but imagine, I think by now they have.
Yeah, they did.
Because
They
there's
did.
been a ton of seizures.
Yeah.
Let me check out the CNN article you posted.
I think there's a video in one of them. Yeah, there's a video.
Well, let's check out this video. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's a video.
I don't know if it's going to play. It's especially not wrong.
Come on, it'll do it.
No, it's being annoying.
Oh,
I don't know why but it's not rolling. Locations of oligarch link yachts. Sorry. So this is the map here.
Mm-hmm.
Off coast of Spain, bunch in Italy, Belarus.
Yeah, and they're going to that island where
Germany.
there's no extradition order out there in the Seychelles or whatever that place is called.
So moving on, well, there are more here. More articles on the yachts. So a super yacht owned by sanctioned Russian billionaires reportedly anchored in the Maldives, which doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S.
That's the place. Yeah, they're going to hide there. That's kind of like being in isolation or something.
Let's turn this audio off. Check out the video. Skirting sanctioned super yacht owned by sanctioned Russian billionaires reportedly anchored in the Maldives.
Yeah.
AP reported on Tuesday that a super yacht owned by Oleg Deripaska, the billionaire founder of Russian aluminum group Rusal, arrived in the Maldives. It's one of several Russian-owned pleasure craft believed to be headed to the island nation, which doesn't have an extradition treaty with the U.S.
That's convenient.
AFP, citing port officials, said the yacht Clio dropped an anchor off Mala, capital of Maldives, on Monday. According to data from marine traffic, at least 2 other super yachts owned by Russian billionaires left for the Maldives.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Germany's, here we go. Germany's does France. Oh, this is the same article, but no, it is the same title. Never mind. Here we go. You check out the Russian billionaire that lost his precious Chelsea soccer team in the UK.
Oh, well, that's one of our favorite guys, and he's got a yacht that's got anti-aircraft on it and lasers, and it can spot a digital camera and make it not work. Paparazzi, and he's got this fancy football team, but he has to sell it.
Yeah, basically, it can detect paparazzi cameras, probably the flash and stuff like that, and then it sends bursts of lasers at the cameras, blinding them so they can't take pictures, right?
it reads the focus. It reads the focus to thing. You can see when it's trying to focus on your boat. You know, like there's a little kind of infrared thing in your that's what it notices, not the flash. So, but you can use old school. You can go back, get your 35 millimeter SLR out, baby. They can't see that one.
So
Back
he's
to film.
considering offers to sell the Chelsea football team.
Yeah, I know he's selling. Yeah,
he's handed over the
selling.
stewardship of the club to the trustees of his charitable foundation.
Yeah, and he said he's selling. He said he's selling out. He's out one football team. He pumped it up to be a really good team too, and put a lot of money into it. This guy's just saying, I don't want to deal with any of this.
Yeah, long term, it's really what are all these billionaire oligarchs going to do? I mean, these sanctions, they're going to remain in effect for a long time.
I mean, they're sitting in their yachts in the middle of the friggin' Atlantic Ocean. They're going to get bored with that after a while. You know, I think between the Russian people rising up again because they're going to be hungry, and the oligarchs, you don't want to make those guys mad. They're like really rich and they're super powerful. So Putin's going to have to, Putin's and poo, I think, you know. That's a really elementary school editorial.
Well, let's check out this, not this, but this video. It's from Al Jazeera, and it goes over how Western sanctions could cripple Russia's economy. So we're gonna do first minute or so.
Yeah, it's
Western countries
101.
are punishing
Sanctions
Russia for invading
101.
Ukraine with a set of powerful international sanctions. They've deployed huge economic weapons on a scale that no one really predicted.
There are actions of economic warfare.
It's a very, very heavy package, and I think the mistake of our Russian government and our officials was that they didn't expect such kind of package.
So what are these new sanctions? How will they affect ordinary Russians? And could they change Putin's calculations in Ukraine? The big players in all this are the US, EU, the UK, and Canada. They want to hold Russia to account and collectively ensure that this war is a strategic failure for Putin. Other countries are involved too, including Japan, South Korea, and Australia. The main target is Russia's banking system. A bunch of countries are banning several Russian banks from an international payment system called SWIFT. SWIFT is the main messaging service that banks use to send money quickly across borders. Without it, any international transaction gets much more complicated. So importing or exporting anything just got a lot harder, and that pushes prices up for ordinary Russians.
This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally.
But they've gone even further than SWIFT by putting sanctions on Russia's central bank, which had looked pretty strong with about $630 billion in foreign currency reserves, what people were calling Putin's war chest. Problem is, the central bank can no longer access a lot of that. Most of the reserves are held in dollars and euros and other assets, which are ultimately controlled by Western countries. And that's a big deal because it limits the central bank's ability to stabilize the Russian economy, which is pretty much its main job. And the economy is under severe pressure from all the other sanctions. For example, several commercial banks have had their assets frozen too and could be in trouble. And this is exactly what the West is trying to do, to prevent the Russian central bank from deploying its international reserves in ways that undermine the impact of our sanctions.
Cutting off SWIFT is basically cutting off Russia's ability to send the mail. Cutting off the central bank is essentially cutting off Russia's ability to produce mail. So the introduction of these sanctions on Russia, in particular the central bank sanctions, is one of the most significant geoeconomic moves in post-World War II history.
So what is
we'll
the
do a
impact?
little bit more.
Well, Russia's currency, the ruble, has tanked.
The Russian ruble. The ruble absolutely in free fall.
In response, the central bank doubled its interest rate to 20%, but now has fewer other options to prop it up. In normal times, it might do that by using its foreign currency to buy more rubles. That effectively boosts demand for the ruble and its value. Prices for some things have already gone up, and there have been queues at cash machines as people try to withdraw their money.
Все бегают от банкомата к банкомату, где что появляется. Ну, кому-то везет, кому-то нет.
Цены растут, разумеется. Накопления уменьшаются благополучно. Акции-то падают.
It could lead to a big economic crisis, even a run on the banks. That's when people start to lose trust in the system and everyone tries to withdraw their money, and there's just not enough cash to go around. Again, that's usually where the central bank would step in and inject more money into the system. It can still do that easily enough with rubles because it can just print them, but it can't print dollars or euros if they start to run low. Now, Russia still might have a way to deal with all of this. It's still earning foreign currency from the sale of oil and gas, but the pressure is really on, and sanctions aren't just targeting the banking sector. Many EU countries have now shut out Russian planes from their airspace. The US, UK, and Japan are also stopping the sale of high-tech equipment to Russia. Putin himself and his foreign minister Sergei Lavrov have had their assets frozen by the US and EU.
Actually,
Wow.
we'll continue with some more economic stuff, but I wanted to get this other story in, which we didn't have in the show notes, and it's pretty important. We discuss it briefly here, and hold on a sec. I have to make sure this is updated. Here we go. So this is from AP News. Attack on Ukrainian nuclear plant triggers worldwide alarm. This was posted yesterday. Russian troops Friday seized the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe after middle-of-the-night attack that set it on fire and briefly raised worldwide fears of a catastrophe in the most chilling turn yet in Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. I believe this, yeah. I guess so. It's the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe.
Yeah.
But it may not be in the world. Firefighters put out the blaze, no radiation released. UN Ukrainian officials said Russian forces pressed on with their week-old offensive on multiple fronts, though they did not appear to gain significant ground in fighting Friday. The number of refugees fleeing the country eclipsed 1.2 million.
Yeah.
So pretty irresponsible of Russia, Putin. I mean,
it's really dangerous, man.
If the cores had been hit,
Yeah.
that would have leaked. And depending
Well,
on
you get a fire next to a reactor, and then one thing can shut down. Some safety valve doesn't open or something. It could be a chain reaction. Then you got another Chernobyl, which is right next door to this one, actually. And yeah, I mean the International Atomic Commission, whatever they call themselves, absolutely had a bird. I mean, they freaked right out. It was like, you guys. But, Putin is just absolutely centered on winning this war. He does not, at this point, I don't think he cares what the cost is.
Well, it's obvious that a big percentage of these, well, who knows the exact figure, but a lot of these missiles are just not accurate. And he doesn't care.
He does not care at this point. I mean, he doesn't care about his troops. He does not care about his people. Does not care about the national economy. He certainly doesn't care about the Ukrainians. And he doesn't care what the West says. I mean, he's now gone into Adolf mode, basically. I mean, he's just going to do whatever he has to do. He's deranged, I'm afraid to say.
So we'll move on to the next section, which is basically crypto and world financial updates. I mean, Russia has plans to get around all these economic sanctions. One of that big part of that plan is leveraging China.
Mm-hmm.
This actually, we're not going to go over. This is actually not related to Ukraine, but I'll just leave it in there. European Union is no longer banning Bitcoin and other proof of work based assets.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on. Ukraine, Bitcoin are the world's first crypto war. Bitcoin will shape the future of global conflict for better or worse. Bitcoin could shape the outcome of this biggest military conflict since World War II. People around the world have already donated millions to NGOs trying to defend Ukraine from Russia's savage invasion. Meanwhile, some in Ukraine are turning to Bitcoin as the panic of war is depleting the country's ATMs. In one case, Danish journalists reportedly used Satoshi's currency to buy a car and flee the country. 20 years ago, gold might have been used to barter in a conflict zone. Today, it's Bitcoin. Meanwhile, leading crypto figures, many of which are rich as Russia's loathsome oligarchs, are lending their influence to the conflict. Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin took to Twitter in his native Russian to decry the invasion. Sam Bankman tweeted that FTX gave $25 to every Ukrainian on the platform. What is new and different is how easy it is to find such activities almost instantly with crypto. The latest example, aside from Ukraine, is the Canadian trucker protest, which was sustained by Bitcoin donations. Many on crypto Twitter cheered on these activities, but I heard a very different perspective from my family and friends in Canada. The point is that crypto has become instrumental in funding conflict, violent or otherwise, with Ukraine. The moral case is clear-cut, but that won't always be the case. There is a risk that the crypto community, out of conviction or just for the pleasure of shit-posting, will use its wealth to meddle in political and military conflicts it doesn't understand.
That's for sure. Oh, boy. Do your homework, people.
Crypto used to have a handful of supporters in the Democratic and Republican Party, while the majority of politicians didn't know or care about it. But in today's hyper-polarized environment, crypto has become yet another partisan issue. It has led people to form opinions based on what party leaders think, even if they don't understand the first thing about Bitcoin. And from Yahoo.com, many major cryptocurrency exchanges put forth defiant statements this week when Ukraine asked them to freeze any accounts belonging to Russians, with some exchange calling upon crypto's history of libertarian ideals to back up their decisions. I mean, overall, obviously massive public outcry to try to seize crypto in Russia, but it's not going to happen. Kraken's CEO, one of the biggest crypto exchanges, publicly stated they're not going to seize Russians' crypto. The Russians people have to have something.
Well, that's what he was saying. I watched an interview with him. I don't know if you saw it, but there was an in-depth interview with him, and he basically said, I mean, that's too broad a brush to, because there's people on both sides of the fence, or whatever side of the fence they might be on. We have Bitcoin and crypto and stuff. You can't just throw everybody out. That's the thing with the Russian people. I mean, they're getting caught in the middle on a lot of this stuff. So, but yeah, I agree with the guy from Kraken on that one.
And then this is from Coindesk.com. Visa, MasterCard joined PayPal in suspending Russian operations. This is pretty big. I haven't seen something like this happen in the modern era.
It's big.
Payment processors cited Russia's invasion of Ukraine, obviously, in announcing the move on Saturdays, posted March 5th. So Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal are suspending all operations in Russia. The companies announced Saturday Visa will begin working to discontinue transactions in Russia, but it will take a few days, according to a press statement. MasterCard said it would suspend all its network services in Russia, which sent military forces into Ukraine at the end of February. Once complete, all transactions initiated with Visa cards issued in Russia will no longer work outside the country, and Visa cards issued by financial institutions outside of Russia will no longer work within the Russian Federation. These companies have been under enormous public pressure to suspend operations. there's what I mentioned, the Kraken CEO. We're not going to do that video.
It's a good video if you want to watch it. It's a little long, but yeah, he basically states that what I just said he stated pretty much.
Wanted to check this one out real quick. Russian users are using crypto loopholes to skirt sanctions from oilprice.com. Unregulated crypto firms in the UK are facing calls to close loopholes, which allow Russians to evade sanctions. Industry body Crypto UK said it's engaged in discussions with the Treasury and MPs about the possible use of digital assets to evade economic sanctions. In a letter, Crypto UK urged unregulated firms not to become a loophole for sanctioned Russians and to freeze or block illicit transactions. As many of you know, we have a two-tier system in the UK where only 34 crypto companies hold a license from the FCA covering anti-money laundering. A further 150 companies are unregulated and under no obligation to comply with sanction measures. So here, crypto, obviously crypto industry is just barely in its infancy of being regulated. So you have a lot of these just Wild West unregulated exchanges where Russian citizens will be able to conduct crypto transactions.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more. Crypto's really bounced into the real world with the last few weeks between the convoys and this war thing.
So Russia's been planning all of this, and they've announced they have a swift replacement with about 400 users. I mean, Russia's been planning all of this. We've discussed on past streams. I mean, they've basically have put a system into place to block out the rest of the internet so they can kind of keep going. Obviously that's been put into full force. So the Russian parallel of SWIFT will be the financial message transfer system of the Bank of Russia, SPFS. This network will be open to mostly Belarusian banks. I'd imagine there's also some Chinese connections. The SPFS network already has 400 users, and Russia's negotiating with China to join the SPFS. And moving further, also I think the biggest story here, and one that is not getting reported, I couldn't find much information, but China's UnionPay, which started as an e-commerce debit card, credit card system in China for online transactions, and now UnionPay has a international website, and this is really straight from the site directly. Did not find many articles. Nobody is writing about this. So I'm gonna try to do some more research on it. Maybe build out a section on the site, because there's just there's not much on it. So I got to start somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt.
But UnionPay International works closely with institutions worldwide to achieve win-win cooperation and mutual benefit through a membership scheme. UnionPay Your Way, devoted to providing you with the most accurate overseas card using tips, ATM, and merchant query services, and the most comprehensive information on UnionPay card privileges. UnionPay International's mobile app aims to become an indispensable companion for your travel in 179 countries. So it's still a relatively new company compared to existing economic comparisons, but it remains to be seen how well Russia will be able to leverage this, but they're going to try.
They're going to try everything they can. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think China is in a very difficult position right now, because they're trying to keep their own house in order, but not let Russia go down. And they were aware that it was going to happen. Everybody knows that. They waited until after the Olympics, but I don't think they counseled them not to do it. I don't really know.
And another big aspect of this story is the fact that Stripe, which is Jack Dorsey's company. Jack Dorsey was also running Twitter for a while and left that. And Stripe was one of his side projects. And Union Pay International partnered up, this is last year, partnered up with Stripe, widening access to the global Chinese consumer market for business. In minutes, businesses from over 30 markets seamlessly accept payments from Union Pay International, one of the world's largest payment networks. This complements Stripe's existing integrations, making Stripe the best solution for large enterprise and small business to sell to Chinese consumers everywhere. So, what does this mean for Stripe? I mean, you've got Visa, MasterCard, what have you, massive economic sanctions on Russia, and now it looks Russia's going to be using Union Pay, and Stripe, a U.S. payment service, has a partnership with Union Pay. So does that partnership
that's not going to work.
Does that partnership remain intact moving forward?
That's going to get called up.
Nobody, I have not found one article discussing this.
Tune in next week.
So something I'd like to see, hopefully get into the mainstream media discussion with the Ukrainian invasion. And then Russian banks may issue cards with Union's Pay as Visa. So this is the actual link from Reuters. As Visa and MasterCard cut links. Credit cards issued by Russian banks using the Visa and MasterCard payment system will stop functioning overseas after March 9th. Russia's central bank said on Sunday, adding that some local lenders would look to use China's Union Pay system instead. Russia-issued MasterCard and Visa card would be accepted within Russia until their expiry, the bank said. The overseas ban also applies to cards issued by local subsidiaries of foreign banks. Well, several Russian banks already use Union Pay. Others, including Cyberbank and Tinkoff, could start issuing cards co-badging Russia's domestic mirror payment system with Union Pay, it added. Thousands of Russians, including holiday makers, are stranded abroad after many countries close off their airspace to Russian aircraft, while Russia has retaliated with flight bans for many foreign airlines. So, I have to see how well Russia can leverage Union Pay, but obviously, rest of the world's. I mean, will China and Russia, and they've been planning this cooperation, economic cooperation, for a long time. China wants to get around and get past the U.S. petrodollar. So, got to see how this unfolds. But really, the West, the U.S., they're going to have to do something about this.
It's going to be unfolding. We'll be this one for a while, I'm afraid.
It really is a massive possible geopolitical shift if Russia and China can just create their own economic infrastructure.
They're gonna try, but the United States is still a very big power in the world currency market. There's no doubt about it. They're not going to just go away.
And real briefly here from BNN Bloomberg, China says domestic Bitcoin trading plummets after crackdown. Obviously, China's been working on getting rid of Bitcoin mining, any Bitcoin trading, crypto in general, as they want their digital yuan to become more widespread, used around the world. China's central bank said Thursday that Bitcoin transactions originating from the country have plummeted to 10% from 90% of the total worldwide. Obviously, Beijing continues to crack down on cryptocurrency, but what I couldn't find is the digital yuan going to start being used in Union Pay? I mean, it would make perfect sense, but I could not find information of that is in the works, but I would imagine it would be down the road. I have to see how successful Union Pay is. So that's pretty much that's it for the financial stuff related to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I wanted to, guess kind of like an editorial, but I wanted to finish the main topics with discussion of Ukraine invasion and China needing to rethink their Taiwan plans for a Taiwan
it's true.
invasion.
Yeah, I mean, they I think from what I'm reading, they're rather surprised that the economic unity against Russia, Visa, MasterCard, the SWIFT system, it was so quick that they're kind of going, whoa, because they have very important that they maintain their economic status to keep their middle class reasonably happy. It's part of the dream. And if that gets shattered, then they have a problem. So they really got to lay, like, is Taiwan really worth it to them? I mean, with Vladimir, he had an agenda. He wants to rebuild the Soviet Union, but I think that, China's definitely going to give it a pause here and see what, because they don't, their economy is a bit challenged at the best of times right now. It's so big, and it's they got all kinds of things going on.
Taking a look at the chat, anywhere it says that he's on Putin's side.
Yeah, I noticed that. Anywhere I think he's looking for soldiers right now. You can go over there.
NATO is pure evil.
NATO's pure evil. Yeah, I saw that. Well, and he doesn't want it to become like Kazakhstan. Last thing I want to see is Kazakhstan Empire reinstalled in Ukraine. Well, and then Hippie 605 says NATO. And Throw Punch says that Russian Revolution, out of 388 members, only 16 were real Russians. The rest were Jews. I guess Jewish Russians aren't real Russians. I'm just trying to do the math on that. And also, it's awful funny. In Canada, you can protest Russia and you're not called a terrorist. Well, if you were protesting Russia and you shut down Ottawa, you might be called a terrorist. But yeah, I mean, we welcome all the comments. Everybody's got their view. When I was a kid, we had this guy, Joseph McCarthy. He had this, I don't know, you might have read about him, but he had this, House on American Activities and stuff. And if you said something like that, you'd be branded a pinko and a fellow traveler. But America's, if you want to side with Putin, that's he'll appreciate that. Anywhere you should get in touch with him. Maybe he'll take you for a ride on his yacht.
Yeah, you could join the Russian hacker army.
Yeah, that would be.
I'm sure Putin would take you under his wing.
Yeah, hey, good.
Do ransomware attacks.
Hey, listen, Edward, if you get in with those guys, can you keep being our correspondent? Because we'd love to have somebody in the Kremlin.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Go for it, Edward. Go for it, man. I'll give you an endorsement.
So, looking at what we've got here from AsiaTimes.com, Ukraine invasion, China needs to rethink Taiwan. China may have earlier underestimated Western resolve, difficulties in conquest, cost in lives, money, and reputation. Mm-hmm. Xi Jinping and his people are no doubt paying close attention to events in Ukraine. They may not like what they are seeing, and this should cause them to rethink a Taiwan seizure scenario on several fronts. These include the military and operational, of course, but as important, if not more so, they may need to reconsider assumption about Taiwan's willingness to resist. Mm-hmm. Also, they may want to reassess the willingness of the United States, the European Union, and other free nations such as Japan to provide military support, direct or indirect, to Taiwan and impose punishing financial and economic sanctions on the PRC. So obviously, it would be a huge public relations nightmare.
Yeah.
If CCP invaded Taiwan, and they're seeing what's happening to Russia. I mean, really, just the economic sanctions. You got Visa. I mean, there's pulling out stops everywhere to try to hurt Russia.
Yeah, I think really when you think about it, getting their apple cart upset like that. The middle class Chinese are really active. They really like buying things, and they're far more consumer active than, say, the Russians are. But I mean, Visa's just, that was 4% of Visa's and MasterCard's overall business that they lost. 4% doesn't seem like much, but you're dealing in numbers like that. But I imagine China would account for more like 15 or 20%. But now you see, the thing is, if this works, then obviously the Western powers are going to go, hey, this is a good way to keep these people in check.
Yeah, and also with Taiwan, you have India, Japan, Malaysia. They're all be very concerned of a invasion of Taiwan.
Oh, totally, because they know they could be next. China's pretty stretched out. I mean, they've got a lot of different entities: Japan, India, all kinds of different entities that are nervous of their motais. But wow. Yeah, we've been so busy with Russia, we haven't even hardly picked on China for a while. We'll have to get back to those guys.
Yeah.
I watched a documentary the other night. I think it was out of Vice. It was on the plight of the Muslims up in that state in northern China. It's pretty grim. Pretty grim stuff going on.
Hippie says in the chat, where was all the people in 2014? This has been going on that long, if not longer.
Yeah, we kind of covered that at the top of the show. Was it a coup? Was it a revolution? The guy that got thrown out was not that popular. He was a Russian puppet, pretty much. And yes, of course, the United States bombed Syria. How about the United States bombing Vietnam? But times change. Okay, maybe what happened, the United States got away with in the 60s, 50, 60 years ago. And now Russia is probably not even as bad as what the United States did in Vietnam. But that's history, and two wrongs don't make a right, and we're dealing with the situation as it exists right now. But nobody's innocent. Lindsey Graham and No Name? No Name, is that Margarine Taylor Greene person? Margarine Taylor.
No. The name that cannot be said.
she's a nutball, man. Did you hear her campaign commercial? She's got this weapon. She says, I'm going to take out the socialists, and she blows up this Volkswagen or something. It's like, wow. Man.
Classic.
We got to get her on the show before she loses her job.
So it's that time again. It's bizarre news time.
Oh, goody.
And we're going to start off something out of Edmonton in Canada. This is from EdmontonJournal.com. Full hog. Yep. Edmonton can become first Canadian city with permanent wild pigs.
That's right.
If city is unprepared, expert warns. And you look at a picture, cute little piggies. I think they're cute. I think they're cute.
Well, they can live with you then. We're going to ship them all to Connecticut. That's it.
Yeah. I'll take in a few. There's actually some goats. There were goats outside my window the other day. One was real scary looking. Goats look satanic to me, especially this one.
Are.
There was a bigger goat, and he was staring at me the whole time, and he was on the lookout while his smaller goat friend was eating my neighbor's dead bush. He's eating the branches off it for a long time.
Are they wild goats, or they belong to somebody?
I'm still trying to figure out where they came from. I saw them the other day wandering in the other neighbor's yard, and the one big goat was definitely checking me out. He's got my number.
Yeah, you gotta watch out.
I haven't figured it out yet. I have a friend in the neighborhood. I'm gonna text him and ask him, where did these goats come from? But I wouldn't be surprised if pigs came next week.
Well, we wish it. Canada's got a lot of problems. This is one of them. So we got the pigs moving into Edmonton. It's pretty cold up there too. These are rough, rugged pigs.
Wild pigs are spreading out of control across the prairies, many living in central Alberta and could become embedded in Edmonton's River Valley without intervention.
Yep.
But in Texas, they have wild pigs, wild boar, where the hell it is, and what they do is you can go on, if interested, you can go on like these helicopter rides, and you can shoot them from the helicopters.
Oh, they love that in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas, they do that all day long, and they do the barbecue and all that.
This is the country of bleeding hearts. Probably the PETA people, and equal rights for wild pigs, are preventing them from.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in Edmonton, but it'll happen in Texas. Moving on, we've got Nikola Tesla.
Now, this is right out of my. Now, check this out, folks. This is from my neighborhood. This is one of the first settlements in the area. It was a mining community called Sandon. It's still a ghost town. It's on the official registry of historic places in British Columbia. It's about 45 miles from where I'm broadcasting here in the central interior of British Columbia. And they actually have something that was designed and built by Nikola Tesla himself. He apparently lived in the little town of New Denver near Sandon for a while. He lived here in the Kootenays. He built this. It is still functioning. It is still providing electricity to the community. It's going to be providing electricity to a new recreational community if they build it. It was built in 1897, people, and it's still working. Sandon, British Columbia. Read some of the text if you want.
A 124-year-old Nikola Tesla designed and installed power plant in rural British Columbia is now powering an electrical vehicle EV named after the inventor. 1897, Nikola Tesla relocated from New York to Christina Lake in rural British Columbia. For 3 months, the inventor came to the region to install 4 of his 60 hertz generators. The 60-hertz plant in Sandon is hydroelectric power plant. The plant became the first utility in British Columbia to obtain the federal green hydroelectric certification.
Yippee! History, baby, right there.
The young pulse of Nikola Tesla.
And still going strong. Boy, I tell you, that's...
1897, Nikola Tesla moved his lab from New York to Christina Lake.
Nice place, Christina Lake, yeah.
I'm going to turn the music off just in case it's copyright-ish. 1 in Christina Lake, 2 for the Red Mountain Mine above Roseland, and the 4th in Sandon, powering the slogan Star Mine. The 60-hertz model, first widely used in BC, became the universal standard for all of North America.
Yippee! Cutting edge right there, man. Go figure. Yeah, Sandon, whoa. It's in a little tiny valley way the heck up in the mountains. Pretty neat, though.
So this is a long video, so
I'll
just end that there. Elon Musk taunts Russia after they stopped selling rocket engines to U.S.
Now, this is like an example of, I think, the Russians are really doing their homework. They're reading their own propaganda, I think, too much. I mean, does this guy really think that we really need his rocket engines, or else we're going to be on broomsticks? Okay.
Is there supposed to be a video? I can try. Let me see.
I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
A Ukrainian engineer has said Elon Musk-led SpaceX's Starlink service was providing really good internet connectivity in the country, which is under attack from neighboring Russia, The Verge reported on Tuesday. Oleg Kutkov, a software and communications engineer based in Kiev, had bought a Starlink dish from eBay a few months ago, but was not able to use it there as there was no service in the country then. On Monday, Kutkov connected to the service in his second attempt and found that it worked well. Starlink is a SpaceX venture designed to beam down high-speed internet, especially in remote areas, including war-ravaged regions. Ukraine Ukrainian Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov had on Saturday made a direct plea to Musk via Twitter, asking the billionaire entrepreneur and Tesla to provide Starlink stations. Musk agreed to the request that same day, tweeting, "Starlink service is now active in Ukraine, more terminals en route." Fedorov on Tuesday tweeted to show a military truck carrying a cargo of Starlink terminals. Starlink is known to have launched over 2,000 satellites and hopes to more than double that by 2024.
So SpaceX boss Elon Musk mocked Russia as the country said it would stop providing rocket engines to the United States in retaliation to sanctions placed on it for invading Ukraine. The boss of state space agency, Dmitry Rogozin, was ridiculed by Mr. Musk after suggesting the U.S. would have to go into orbit on their broomsticks. American broomsticks, taunted Mr. Musk on Twitter as he posted a video of SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launching another 47 Starlink satellites into orbit. I heard that maybe like in the 1,000 range, the Starlink satellites around 1,000, I believe, have malfunctioned and maybe have fallen back down to Earth. So he's had a... Because I think he's not there yet, but Musk is eventually going to get around 7,500 of those low orbit satellites up orbiting the Earth for Starlink. Wow. So it's good. It's good what he's doing in Ukraine, war-torn country, and hopefully the internet is good at least, and can blanket the country, because that really would help the people that are there suffering.
No doubt.
The bombing and all that. So this one's this next one I'm thinking about doing this, maybe become like the Milli Vanilli. You know who I'm talking about? Those guys from the 80s with the
Milli
hair,
Vanilli.
and they didn't sing Milli Vanilli. I'm gonna do the street version, street performer version of that. And just rake in lots of bills.
But Yankee, you used to be actually a decent musician. I heard you play.
Those days are gone, though. It's time to fake it.
All right, now as a working
Fake
musician,
it to make it, baby. Come on.
As a working musician, basically, we're always busking, and that is like basically begging for money when we're playing music. But these people, they're out there and they're faking it. All right. So I think there's a video. I mean, these people should be socially shamed or something, or ashamed of themselves. I mean, come on, people. It's hard enough being a musician and knowing how to play.
So let me play this video. Are we going to get nailed for copyright?
No, they're crap music they're playing. We're not going to get nailed for.
Well,
it's classical. It's classical music. Don't worry about it. It's public domain.
Many of us love to hear live music out on the town, but a sheriff's office in Florida is warning some of the people serenading you are actually scammers looking for easy money.
Officials say a lot of the time the performers are pretending to play that instrument while they're playing a recorded version on their speaker. NBC2's Sarah Metz is putting the performers to the test.
Pretty good, right? You hear it all the time now. We have performers popping up in parking lots all over Southwest Florida.
Connected
just going
to
in and out
violin.
of like Target or World Market and hearing them in the parking lot.
They're playing for $1.
If you're gonna play over somebody else's work, you're just scamming.
But a sheriff's office in Florida is warning they could be playing you.
I don't know that I put that much thought into it.
Almost immediately, you know.
Sapphire Gibson is a classically trained musician who plays the violin herself.
Got private lessons for 16 years, and then all these people are just fake playing. And I was like, you're making me not look special. It's not, I'm not offended in any way. I just think it's truly a strange thing to do.
We had her take a look at some of these performers caught on camera in our local lots.
Like, every musician is not completely in tune. So when there is a musician out by TJ Maxx that's playing perfectly in tune in 98-degree weather, it's a little bit questionable. He's doing something, but violin playing is not one of them. Oh no. That's honestly one of the worst ones that I've seen. She's holding the bow hairs. So that's immediately wrong. She's just going for it. This is a slow song, and you can see that her
just
hands are
moving her
moving
fingers around
extremely
just
quickly.
weird,
I tried
random.
asking the lady in yellow what she thinks about people calling performers like her fake. She ignored me, packed up her things, and left. Now we're left with a sad reminder. Be sure whoever you tip can actually carry a tune. Reporting in Lee County, Sarah Metz, NBC2.
Go home.
I wanna see somebody doing this. I wonder if anybody's doing it in New York City. There's like really, there's some really good street performers, like all throughout the subway system in New York.
Yeah, totally.
And on the streets, and they.
No, this
they
seems
play
like
all
something. I don't think. You know, New York is kind of a classy town. Even the funky parts of New York.
I mean, there's already too many, actual performers doing it, but I could see somebody trying to pull it off, though.
No, this looks like more like a Tallahassee.
I'd have to film it if I found somebody.
Like maybe Modesto.
Yeah, I mean that's
California,
that's literally like a strip mall in Florida or something.
Yeah.
Who the hell sets up a speaker and starts playing violin like that? That's just bizarre.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
well, I think people. It's a rough economy. You got to try to make money somehow, right? All right.
Well,
so
you don't have to be honest anymore. That's the new American Western world way. I mean, if you can't make money honestly with your talents, then just cheat. What the hell is that?
So I got this very disturbing video off of Atuge's Discord. Atuge, obviously, very well known here on DLive. He's been streaming on DLive for a very long time. Let me just check out Atuge here on DLive. Follow the link if you're on DLive. That'll be a hyperlink. You can check out his channel. But anyway, I got this off his Discord. Found it extremely disturbing. So basically, as I was saying, I've come across really hard economic times. And especially for Putin and Russia and the oligarchs. He's having a rough go at it. I mean, he's got to make a buck somehow. So the rumor has it, and now this is allegedly, rumor has it that Putin has created his OnlyFans channel and is selling some of that skin for money.
God.
Because he had those. You remember those videos of him bareback, naked, basically on a horse.
Yeah.
He likes to, he likes to show off his physique. So these rumors may be true. So
I bet he's gay.
So possible. That's a possibility. So this is allegedly Putin has created his own OnlyFans. So let's check this out. It's a minute 37. We'll painfully try to get through this. So viewer discretion advised.
Totally.
Okay, getting close to goal for 400 parachute. Old parachute, no good. Soldier drop like rock. Okay, we hit goal. Now is sexy time. Get ready, it's going to be getting hot in here. If we hit next goal, I will show mood up. Okay, that was good sexy time. Very good sexy time. Okay, we hit next goal of helicopter. I will show Mudak. What is Mudak? Mudak is my asshole.
Oh my God.
Oh fuck.
I shoot
Okay.
Yeah, so that was from Kyle Dunnigan. Check him out. Check out Kyle on YouTube. What's he got? He's got 55,000 views for this. So you know, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. I think it's got a chance of going viral. It's getting there.
Yeah. Throat Punch says Putin's gay lover says put in
hot dog. So yeah, that was sexy time. Some sexy time with Vladimir Putin.
Thanks,
allegedly has his own OnlyFans channel now.
Now I definitely can't sleep tonight. Just envisioning.
Yeah, can't get it.
Vladdy and
erase
the boys.
It from your mind now, permanently etched in your consciousness.
I know.
So that's the show. We made it somehow.
We did it. We got through it. Another one. Next week we're gonna have something different than this of Ukraine. I think we got, I don't know, some friggin' malfeasance.
Yeah, I'd like to get some updates on Zuckerberg's metaverse in general.
We've been working on that. We're gonna try to have a what's going on with social media. In other words, what's going on with Twitch and Twitter and Trovo and WhatsApp and what's up and what's not up.
I wanted to check out NFTs, maybe OpenSea. I'm gonna go through OpenSea. I think it's OpenSea.com is the biggest NFT.
Let's go to the big view.
Marketplace online. Here it is. It's at OpenSea.io. Here, I'm gonna post it in chat. If you guys check this out. Check out OpenSea. It's the latest craze with the kids. Obviously, NFTs are ridiculously hyperinflated, cost-wise. You know, there's stuff on here for $6,000, $10,000. Who knows? Up.
I know.
Everything's pretty much above 1,000. It's basically everybody expects an enormous amount. And I'm waiting for when NFTs, the market will collapse because it's not going to be able to sustain that long term. But check out OpenSea. I might pick out a few things here. Maybe go over it next Sunday.
Yeah.
But all the cool kids are into NFTs, so everybody needs to start looking at, what's your avatar, your NFT avatar going to look like.
Oh, I better do that tonight.
I read a story about a guy who somebody offered him millions of dollars, multi-millions, for his avatar's NFT avatar, and it was so important to him to have it that he refused the sale. So this is big part of the internet now with a growing audience.
No doubt.
Mazo Mass in the house. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey,
thanks also for tuning me into Union Pay. That's a big story. China's Union Pay. Hopefully we can get some more information on it, and there's not this what appears to be like a media blackout of it.
We'll find it.
There should be more news about Union Pay because it's going to be instrumental in how China's going to help Russia. But so we'll do the NFT stuff. There was also we had discussed, but we haven't gotten around to it. We've got to put some more time into the research. The opioid addiction issue in the U.S. and doctors and scripts
legal
and
addiction.
prescription. Yeah, legal addiction through doctors writing scripts is a huge problem in the United States.
And
Canada. Yeah, I mean,
it's a little more regulated here, but it's still a problem. So. Yeah, we got to cover that.
I know in the Northeast, laws have made it difficult in the past 10 years or so for doctors to do that. So a lot of people were going down to Florida, and then now that's, they've got to tie up the legal ease with that. But
yeah,
I want to get a good idea of what, which states. It's usually how it operates. There's certain states that are just loose with the doctor's scripts.
Totally.
And they don't crack down, and so then people go there, buy the drugs, and then sell them in other states all over.
Yeah, here
It's
in Canada,
a huge
it's all regulated by the government, so they actually cross-reference when you get a prescription filled. It goes into a master database, and so you absolutely cannot do the same type of thing. However, a number of people have gotten strung out already. And of course, our illegal situation is totally gone. But yeah, we're going to try to concentrate particularly on the legal aspect because that's something that doesn't get covered very much.
The legal aspect of it too is it's pretty brutal because it comes down to the legalizing drugs overall, because with these prescription drugs, you get pulled over in your car if there's prescriptions found.
Yeah.
A cop, your HIPAA laws don't protect you. A cop can literally look up what medications you're legally supposed to have. You have no protections there, so there's huge privacy loopholes that law enforcement has at their disposal to arrest you for prescription drugs.
Interesting.
So I want to take a look at that also.
Yep. And if you got any suggestions out there in suggestion land, shoot them to us. So we'll try to look into them for you. Means that's what we do.
Yeah. So that's it for now. Thank everybody for hanging out. We had Hippie in the chat. Any word?
Mazo.
Any word supporting Putin, right?
Well, I have sympathy for the devil, man.
Yeah, sympathy for the devil. We had Throw Punch in the chat, ripping it up. Yeah, so it was a really good stream. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, I'm glad you did. I did too.
And I've finally got some more bandwidth, so I've got some more upload bandwidth. I've been checking.
Yeah, it looked really good.
It all through the stream here, and I've been in the green. I've had the green indicator, solid green indicator in OBS. I've been well above the 2,500 kilobit.
You gotta love it, baby.
Setting. So I think
we do all this for you. We do all this for you people. You know what I mean? Like seriously.
All right, so that's a wrap. Tomorrow I'll have some kind of crypto show, Cryptopia show tomorrow around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, around there.
Right on.
So please check that out. Come hang out in the chat. We had a really good show last week going over new crypto wallets and tax regulation and all that boring stuff.
Yeah, and we'll probably be doing a show coming up on the different festivals and stuff that things are starting to happen. I just got booked to a big jazz festival in BC here, and there's other festivals starting up, and people are really hungry to go out. The lounge I play in, we've been packed the last couple of weeks. People really want to get out, see live entertainment, get these mandates out of the way, and I think we're going to have a great summer entertainment-wise. So that's good news for us musicians, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the musicians that actually play the music that you hear, as opposed to just a Milli Vanilli type, I mean.
Yeah.
It's tempting, though, I mean.
Well, I heard that ZZ Top at one point that basically just they got so sick and tired of actually playing their instruments that because I knew a guy who ran monitors for like Big Head Todd and a bunch of Colorado bands, and he's also I think he also mixed ZZ Top, and he said that it's all backtracks. At one point, they just got tired of it, and their beards got so long that they got in the way of them playing their instruments, so they just
I mean, I just spent so much time maintaining the beards that didn't have time to practice. So they figured just roll the tape. Well, I saw Britney Spears and she sang, 4 or 5 out of the 12 tunes that she did. I mean, it would probably have been better if she hadn't tried to sing them, but I don't want to pass judgment on Britney, I mean.
No, she's adorable.
She is, She's not that innocent,
No. All right, everybody. Thanks again for your support.
Right.
We'll see you on the other side. On the flip side, stay safe.
Yeah.
Protect your crypto, and let's hope that none of us get banned. All right.
No doubt.
So take care, everybody.
Sympathy for the people in the war zone.
And sympathy for the devil.
Him too.